Welcome back to the Bach and Arthur podcast. This is episode number 6.
Woohoo! Let's
That's
go.
right.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone. And today we're going to be talking about our boy George on InSIDE.
Yeah.
We're super proud of him, so we're going to discuss that. We did platform roulette a couple days ago, so we'll be talking about that, not giving too much away. There's been a big wildlife comeback recently. Shout out to the Beavers. We'll be discussing that.
Yeah.
Lab-grown meat. Can't forget that. Diogenes, a bit of Greek philosophy, and then we'll finish on listener questions. So that is the episode for you.
Banging up.
All right.
And also, I love how we do the intro, and then because we have so many weird tangents throughout, like people can never predict what we're going to talk about.
That's so true. You know what? Forget it. We're going to be talking about everything on Earth today. So George Clarkey just got announced being on InSIDE.
I know.
That's right. And we had no idea.
No, we had no idea. Wait, what in the comments of the Sidemen post, and everyone was like, "Yeah, good acting, Arthur." Because you've seen most of it, right?
I've seen 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously it's pre-filmed, so George did leave us for a week. And we knew where he was.
Yeah.
And then everyone has to keep it stum until things get announced. But this is huge for him. It's on Netflix as well, which is insane.
Yeah, that is mental.
So shout out to George for that.
I mean, isn't he on a dating? Isn't Chloe's dating show on Netflix?
I don't know. I didn't know.
But either way, he's gone Simon Charity Match, InSIDE, the dating show with Chloe.
Oh yeah,
he's going global.
The boy's killing it, and deserves it. He's doing amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, InSIDE. Would you go on InSIDE?
Yeah. Yeah. I really, after Locked In, I was kind of like sad that obviously, because I was like, oh, they're never going to get me back.
Yeah.
Like those kind of challenges are really fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you've been on Locked In.
Yeah. So it's kind of a similar thing. And I think as well, like, we don't meet new people that often anymore.
True.
Because we spend so much time on YouTube and in these YouTube groups and stuff. It's quite rare that a new person gets introduced. Like, you're the newest person in the group, really, and you've been around.
Yeah, and I've been around. Well, actually, how long have I really been? I moved here in September.
Yeah, but like, you've been in our friendship group for like over a year. Like it's a night. I think it would be a cool time to just be like, oh, meet a bunch of new people, see how you interact with them, see how you like struggle with the challenges.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Before me, who was the newest member of the friendship group?
George and Arthur kind of came in at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like me and Chris were mates to begin with.
And how long were you guys, so then how long did it take for me to turn up? Because you know when you're in a friendship group and you never, like right now, we've got a friendship group. You never really expect someone to come and just join that, do you?
No. It's weird thinking that there's probably a guy out there that we don't know yet.
That could
That
join.
in like a year we're going to be doing platform roulette and karaoke and stuff with.
That's what I mean, because I sort of just wormed my way in there.
Yeah.
But you probably never thought that I would. I'm inevitable, as it turns out.
He planned it all along.
Unlucky sucker.
Yeah.
Did you watch the first series of InSIDE?
No.
Was good.
I saw clips and stuff.
Yeah, I watched it. It was good.
Was it?
Yeah, they do it really well.
Would you go on
well
it?
done. Yeah, I think I would. I think Liv would miss me a lot. She'd probably struggle with me in there, but it's one of those things. It's like such a good move for career and like
1 week's not that crazy either. Like you'll inevitably do 1 week stuff. Like at some point, Chip this summer wants to do another Sri Lanka type video.
Yeah.
Where he'll whisk us away for like a week or two. So I guess it happens from time to time.
Yeah, that's true. And it's worth it in the long run anyway. But I saw Simon talking about the next InSIDE's going to be an American one anyway.
Oh,
did you see that? It's going to be in America. In America. I don't know if he said there was going to be like British people in there or if it was just Americans or what, but I think he was talking about it on the Fellas Pod actually. And was he? Or maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I see a lot of clips of him. But
he loves mini mints, by the way.
Oh, I've got a tattoo actually. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what American InSIDE will be like.
I thought it was interesting the other day when you were talking about like our growth versus growth of things that we like aspire to. So like we could be like, you know how you were saying, like, oh, the charity match, like obviously every year that gets bigger and bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And you and I grow in terms of like subs, viewership, all that kind of stuff. Like it would be interesting to see, obviously InSIDE, I'm guessing they're planning on keeping doing it. It's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
Whether it grows faster than us, whether we would potentially grow faster than it. Do you know what I mean? So like next year, like it could go, oh my goodness, it's on Netflix, it's so global.
Yeah.
That they get absolute A-list stars.
Yeah. That's the thing. It always depends what path they go down. I know Simon's said that he, like for the charity match, he always wanted it to be creators and not like become Soccer Aid.
Yeah.
So that, although that grows each year, it's still attainable, like as long as you're a growing creator.
Yeah.
Whereas InSIDE, I could see that becoming, I don't know their plans with it, but I could see that becoming more of like I mean, it's on Netflix, so
Yeah.
You wouldn't be surprised if they went, oh, next season we could just get in like crazy names.
Yeah.
And just go away from the creator space. It just depends where they take it. But then we said, obviously, the Bach and Arthur charity match is going to go crazy. The Bach and Arthur outside is going to be lit as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where we just put everyone in a garden, an allotment.
No, camping in the wilderness.
No, because now everyone's going to steal that idea.
Sorry.
Great, now.
That's
great.
actually a bang.
Now the
That would
Sidemen
be
are
so
working on
fun.
it. I mean, the Sidemen are working on it as we speak now. Great. That would be sick, though, actually. You just put everyone on an island.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also interesting seeing a lot of creators moving into like traditional like reality TV. Like GK Barry went on I'm a Celeb. Max Belegde went on Australian I'm a Celeb. And yeah, do you see yourself ever doing something like that?
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Does it?
If someone asked me, I'd probably do it.
Does it interest you as much as like InSIDE would?
No, probably
Really?
not.
How come?
I just like the YouTube culture.
Fair.
I really like. I don't know. I feel like reality TV fans are much less interested in, a bit more detached. Like there's definitely like a UK YouTube like community.
Yeah.
So seeing all the interactions from the TikTok accounts, the Twitter accounts, the Instagram, sort of that kind of stuff, like interacting with creators who are very similar. I feel like something like I'm a Celeb. Actually, I don't know. I think it would be cool. It's a completely different experience. It like naturally feels like less of a something I think about actively in comparison with like big creator milestones and stuff. But with the right show, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd do something that would take me away for months at the moment, because I feel like, you know, I'm just starting to really grow this new channel on YouTube and stuff. And I know got to grind and stuff. And if they were like take 2 months out, and it could be quite slow for it. But
Yeah.
always tough to tell how well it's going to do in advance, isn't it?
Yeah. It's also the difficulty is like measuring the success of your role in that show. Because like on InSIDE, you can look at well, now it's on Netflix, not so much, but the first season, like Weller was on it. He can look at the comments and see people really loved him on there, and and you can see your like, because it's on YouTube and it's to an audience who are like on social media, the followers and like the traction that you gain and stuff is quite apparent. But when it comes to like reality TV, it's harder to track. Like you can't really see the comments unless you go on Twitter and just search your name and the show. You'll get people talking about it. But you can't really directly gauge how many people have then come to your accounts to watch you and stuff. So it's not...
I think the gain is much more direct as well, because if you're on InSIDE, you know a lot of the InSIDE watchers are going to be YouTube fans because they like the Sidemen. And okay, like they might have already seen us on the Sidemen, but if they hadn't, they could go, oh, this Batch guy is quite funny. I'm a YouTube enjoyer. I like the Sidemen. I'm going to go check him out. Yeah. Whereas I feel like a lot of the I'm a Celeb people, even if they were like, oh, Batch is a funny guy, might not necessarily be like, oh, I'm a YouTube watcher, I'm going to watch a reaction video every other day.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I think it's good for like getting yourself into more mainstream media. Like you might then appear on other TV shows and maybe get your own show and stuff like that. But it doesn't necessarily like directly grow your YouTube channel or whatever. It puts you down another path, I guess. You could keep both going at the same time.
And you would quite like your own show on TV, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You say that.
That's definitely a goal of mine. I think in the next 2 years, I'd like to have a show out.
What kind of show? Like sketch based?
Yeah, sort of. It's kind of like a mockumentary I'd like to do. I find those really good. So I'm writing something like that.
Right.
And so hopefully.
I think you'd be really good at a sitcom, like writing and acting in it, sort of like a peep show, Office type thing.
I'd love something like that.
Because that kind of humor, you've got... It's interesting. There's a lot of like Ricky Gervais like clones where you are just playing David Brent. Yeah. But like you've got your like very own brand that's still similar, and like it would appeal to people who like the dry humor. Yeah. And like this is so weird and he's not laughing, it's deadpan. Yeah. But like your own complete style. And in the same way that the Peep Show did a similar thing, it's like, you know, a deadpan pantomime, but you're not like, oh, this is just a spicy David Brent or like David Brent in a different flavor. It was like its own thing. Yeah. I really think I'd like to that if I picture you, like the kind of show I'd want to watch a year, and I think that
something
really
like
cool.
that. Yeah. It's very British humor, isn't it? Like when you're being very deadpan and like straight to the point. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be a lot of fun.
And like nothing crazy in terms of like effects and stuff. It literally is just a camera, a bunch of people in a room just interacting awkwardly and being weird and being like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I think that's why I'd love to do a mockumentary, because it is like just a camera following around like these people, and you can then be very deadpan, and it's not like
a bit like Our Country mockumentary.
This Country, yeah. I loved that. I thought that was so funny.
Really? So that's the type of thing you want
I'd love to do something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that I'd love to work on. That would be cool. Fun. But yeah.
Speaking of things we'd love to work on, platform roulette. I don't really know what that means.
Platform roulette.
We just did another one.
Yeah.
We went to, as everyone probably saw, Gravesend.
Can we say that?
Yeah, because we posted it on our story and stuff. Everyone knows we were in Gravesend.
Fair, all right.
Also, I feel like with some videos, you don't want the spoiler. But like with things like that and Chris's video, like knowing that we went to Doncaster, people are like, oh, I might as well not watch it now because I know where you've been.
Yeah, location.
It's all about the interesting stuff that happens.
Yeah, we won't give away anything that happened.
I don't know if I can listen. It was such a bizarre.
It was a real. I mean, that's only the second one I've done.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you've done like 8 now, surely.
Yeah, I think I've done all of them.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really got much to base it off, but the one that I went to was Brighton, which is like a town full of stuff.
Loads to do, but yeah, this place, there was genuinely nothing. We just drank a lot.
Yeah.
Had a lot of weird interactions with
funny though.
People in public.
We were kind of opportunists. We got something happening immediately when we got there. And then, the rest is pretty funny. I think it'll be really funny on camera.
I'm really interested to see the final portion with the lady, because there's without like spoiling it too much, there was this kind of like crazy lady that came up to us, and we were like singing and belting out songs and stuff and getting along with her well. And then 2 like fans came over and said hi, and she just went fuck off. And I was battered, and instantly I could feel myself going like, I don't like this lady anymore.
Yeah, I mean, she was a lunatic.
And I think she said something like, aren't you guys glad I came over? And I was just I was like, I don't know, actually. And then she was like, oh. And then, I'm curious to like watch it back and see whether like I was overthinking how rude she was, or whether I was a bit rude.
That will be a funny one to watch.
Yeah. Back. It's one of those, when you get like the classic beer feel like after you've drunk and you're trying to figure out how exactly you acted in social situations. I always do it after we do drinking videos. I'm like, oh, have I
really?
Was I really weird with
How
that?
did you feel after this one? Did you feel drunk or not?
Yeah, I was battered.
I was battered, to be honest.
I was hungover at like 1 a.m. as well, because obviously we stopped drinking earlier than usual. So like a few hours later. We started
earlier, didn't we?
We started a lot earlier and finished a lot earlier. But obviously, like, because you're not in control of the editing, like you never know what's going to happen. So like, whenever we do like a pub crawl or something like that, it hasn't happened yet where I've been like, oh, I feel like I really managed that social situation really badly.
Yeah.
But you're always like, oh, because you see it from one perspective, but editing can just change it. Like, for example, if it's completely cut out her saying F off to those girls because they don't want the girls in, or the girls have asked to not be in, or like it's a swear word and they don't want to add it. And there's just a random energy switch from me going like, oh, we're singing a song to this lady, being like, actually, I'm kind of annoyed that you've turned up.
Well, you didn't have to get her in a headlock, did you? That bit was too far. Tune in for that.
Do you know what I mean? Do you ever have that where you're like, oh, I wonder
how it will look in the edit? How I've come
across
that. I've got a bad memory, so I can't. I tend to not remember what happened on a shoot. So
I kind of wish I had that.
So I do think, I wonder if I'm even in the video, but I don't remember like specific situations that well. I also don't get that drunk, so it's not. I don't get to a point where I'm like, oh, I won't remember that, except for the Munich pub crawl. I wasn't that drunk for that, but even that's probably the drunkest I've been in a YouTube video. And afterwards, I was a bit like, I wonder if I did anything that I can't remember about.
Yeah.
But I don't black out when I drink. A lot of people black out.
I didn't black out. It's really weird. Like, even when I'm absolutely battered and zoning out, I do like remember pretty much the whole night.
Yeah. But
that's what kills me, because the morning after I'm like analysing it, and I'm like, because I'm drunk, I'm not socially aware enough to analyse.
Yeah.
What exactly so it's they are tough ones, the drinking ones.
It's
really
fun
are.
To watch back. I love those sorts of videos, because it's just like you do just get to watch back a fun time with friends. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's just funny.
and weird stuff happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You should do. Do you know what we should do at some point? A tier list of the platform roulettes you've been on.
Oh, that
Maybe
would be
wait for
good.
this one to drop
and
and then do a tier because that would be interesting. Maybe we'll get Arthur on for that.
That
seeing
would
as
be
it's
good.
His show.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you guys want to see that, just drop a comment down below. Oh, and while you're down there, you might as well hit the subscribe button as well.
Yeah, and if you want to see beavers,
We're right here.
get your beaver. No, I'm joking.
Go on.
Wild beaver. No, put the witch's beaver away. That's a Minecraft. Oh, for audio listeners, he's got the Minecraft witch next to him, which is the guest he's speaking about all the time, by the way.
Yeah.
And he just lifted up her dress.
Well, she is wearing drawers.
Okay, good.
Don't worry.
Oh, she got those granny panties on.
Yeah, she got granny. No, she's wearing a nightie underneath this. Don't worry
Okay,
about it.
good.
Oh, no, that's her
Nighties.
skin tone. Oh,
Is
that
it?
is her vagina. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's where she keeps her potions. Interesting. Oh, yeah. I can't think of a single Minecraft potion. Oh, poison too.
But yeah.
Sorry, man.
Wild beavers have been reintroduced to the UK after 400 years.
Yeah, which is lovely. That's great news.
We're getting really into this whole
Reintroduction.
thing.
Did it with pine martens.
We were speaking about Iron Age pigs, longhorn cows, and European bison.
We got longhorn cows.
The plan when we spoke about it was between 2024 and 2026. I'm almost certain the European bison have come back.
That would be not. Yeah, the bison are back. And they make delicious mozzarella. That's not what I thought a longhorn. Oh, maybe it is. Because you got the Texan Longhorns, the college football team. If you see like a Texan Longhorn cow, their horns are massive. The size of them. Look at that. Is that what we're getting?
Essentially,
They're
yeah.
huge. The size of those. What are you even going to do with them? That must.
Oh, that is an absolute unit, isn't it?
It's got to weigh your head down.
Rewilding Britain.
Pretty bad. Yeah, so they are coming back. Interesting. I'm scared walking through a field full of calves, let alone those.
Calves, as in cows.
Yeah,
Like baby cows?
suckling babes, yeah.
Suckling babes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in Dorset Nature Reserve.
The beavers are back. I saw a clip of them coming back actually, yeah. Just being released.
I was surprised to see that they got hunted to extinction.
Oh, is that
Using
what?
them for fur, their meat, and their castoreum.
What is
a
that
secretion
castoreum?
used in medicine and perfumes.
They love the anal part of creatures, don't they?
Yeah, it's really odd.
Like, vanilla extract comes from a beaver's G-spot, right? Wait, no, Con, can you search vanilla extract animal secretion or something?
Vanilla extract. Doesn't vanilla just
like
come
you can just get it from vanilla, or you can get it from the butthole.
Artificial vanilla is made from synthetic vanillin, which is synthesized from compounds found in a clove oil.
Oh no, there you go. Look, the myth at the top there. The idea that vanilla flavoring comes from beaver castoreum is a myth, and we fooled ItalianBach with that one.
From
Interesting.
beaver casters.
But genuinely, no, that is a myth. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Myth
myth
busters.
busted.
We're back. Myth broken that back out.
Yeah.
Right.
But obviously, yeah, had a profound impact on wetland ecosystems because dams weren't being built.
Literally, yeah. No, but I do love beavers. They're lovely creatures,
Yeah, they really are.
I think.
Well, they were very helpful to Lucy, especially, weren't they? And the rest of the kids in Narnia.
Don't know. I can't remember it. But I do remember, actually, their arseholes on Ark. If you've played Ark, the dinosaur
I've not
game.
played Ark.
If you go and steal, I can't remember what it is, cementing paste from their dens, they come running after you and they all, which fair enough, actually. You destroy their den. Oh, maybe they aren't arseholes after all. Maybe I was the villain all along.
Maybe.
Fair enough. But yeah, there was a study that showed fish are much larger in areas populated by beavers.
Damn.
I was racing Con to the end of that end of that sentence.
Is that just because it allows the sort of water to pool up?
Yeah, I guess so. And there's more birds as well. I guess that it just helps the whole ecosystem. Everything.
Easier to find fish if they're in a pool of still water.
It's like
stopped by a dam rather than running water.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, literally. Oh,
Literally.
come on.
If we had a gun, yeah.
But yeah, there are a bunch of animals we've got here that are now extinct in the UK.
I love going through this. Like the
Yeah.
animals that we no longer have.
And you're going to love this first one, wolves.
Yeah.
1760, they were persecuted to extinction by that time.
Cruel. It's so cruel. It really
Yeah.
is. But
Turn some of them into dogs and then we killed the rest. How crazy is that?
True.
Serve us or die, we said.
It is actually crazy because I'll watch a lot of things from before 70, 60, like something based before then. And you just think, oh, it's England as it is. But no, they might have other creatures rolling about that we didn't have to think about. Because look, I was saying before, like we could go on a run right now into the British wilderness and not be, we're the most dangerous thing there.
Yeah, you got nothing to worry about.
But if you do that in Canada, you do that anywhere else, you could be killed by a creature.
Yeah.
We're so lucky we're not a threat by any kind of creature, really.
Yeah, that is true. Also, lynxes. Lynx bones have been carbon dated to 1,500 years ago, but they're common in British literature up until the 17th century.
Although they were back in Scotland, weren't they?
Oh, really?
But I think 2 of them were found dead or something.
As in like recently, or their remains from...
I think they were... Okay, so they're extinct now, but recently there was people... I think a guy released 2 or something, and they just couldn't survive and died, or someone killed them. It was a bit of a thing in the news.
Oh, here we go. 1 in 4 illegally released lynx in the Scottish Highlands died after being captured.
That's it.
And the other 3 are being cared for in Edinburgh Zoo.
Yeah, so someone illegally released 4.
Wow, rogue rewilding. That's so interesting.
So people were just trying to do it by force. They were like, no, put them out there. But
that's crazy, really. I mean, if you think about how hard we have to think about the impact on ecosystems and everything, but before we reintroduce stuff, the fact that humans could do that.
And they were like, no, just put 4 links out.
Because imagine you say, oh, brilliant, there's 1,000 now and they eat 10 children a day.
Yeah.
Because you get loads of them in Australia, don't you? Where there are sort of animals you brought across, especially pigs.
Oh, really?
Or was it wild hogs?
Oh, wow.
That literally...
Oh, they're terrifying.
And they just massively invasive. You go, feral pigs in Australia are descendants of various domestic pig breeds.
Oh, wow.
They've been present since early European settlement. Their populations were concentrated near settlement areas, but they've since spread across 45% of the mainland. But yeah, they are...
45%, wow. They are terrible.
There are 24 million feral pigs across 45% of Australia. That's insane.
They are pigs are terrible if you like introduce them by accident. They will just dominate,
and they just tear up the land.
Eat everything,
eat everything, and sort of like biodiversity is really struggling in Australia because Europeans just brought
all the
across.
fat pigs.
They're so yummy though.
All the fat Australian pigs out there.
Elk. I would love a moose. I would love a moose to be.
Oh,
moose,
elk.
A moose. That's Muppets Christmas Carol. A goose. Anyone? Anyway, it was common sight in Britain before this spring 8,000 years ago.
8,000 years.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. The elk. Wow. With that, Britain used to be so much cooler.
Yeah.
And now look, we got Nish.
Now we've got European bison back there. That's the coolest one.
True. That is true.
That's very epic. Because that was a part of the one that we were speaking about with Iron Age pigs, longhorn cows, and European bison being reintroduced. Can you find out where they were? I think they're now in Norfolk.
The bison.
The European bison.
But are they just kept in one field or are they let to roam free?
I actually don't know. There you go. It was they were reintroduced in July 2022.
Kent.
In Kent.
Interesting.
But yeah, they're really, I think they're important for like chewing bark and stuff.
Oh, just like you.
And clearing undergrowth. Yeah,
just like me.
They debark non-native conifers.
Oh.
Create pathways for other wildlife, clearing undergrowth. Yeah, really cool.
That is cool. Good for them eating the bark. We also used to have the brown bear.
Oh,
mic drop.
That's scary.
The brown bear is scary.
The brown bear.
A common top predator alongside the wolf and lynx following the last ice age. After lions and hyenas had disappeared, there were over 13,000 bears in Britain 7,000 years ago. They are thought to have gone extinct in the UK just over 1,000 years ago. Gradual and persistent persecution alongside the loss of its forest habitat.
That is mental. Like the Battle of 1066 was happening and there were just
bears.
brown bears knocking
That's
around.
what I mean. Like you'll see a period drama of around that sort of time. I've never said period drama in my life. I don't even know if that's valid. And you just completely forget like, oh, these people are going around on horseback, but there could be a bear that just swipes them off.
That 100% would jump out of the woodland and
eat their ass.
A horse and that too.
And the horse's ass.
That's also cool. I love science, don't you? Like the fact that we just know that there are about 13,000 bears 7,000 years ago.
Yeah, that is cool. And now we got none. And I can tell you that without science.
What animals would you like to see in the UK? Let's speak hypothetically so that we don't have to go, but considering ecology, wildlife and kind of stuff, what would you like because you love the outdoors.
I do.
You love going for hikes, going for walks.
Mm.
If someone was like, you don't have to worry, this won't disturb the ecosystem, this won't disturb the food chain. If you could reintroduce an animal, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. Do you have one in mind? Because this is a tough one. I'd say a bird, but you wouldn't often see the bird, which is annoying. Because I love seeing a red kite. When I see that flying around, they're quite common. Did you know they were almost hunted to extinction? People, they used to see them as like a pest, like you'd see a pigeon.
Really?
They'd see pigeons. And so when they did this thing where it was like pushed out to everyone, they'd encourage it. If you see a red kite about to land on a tree, chase it down and don't let it land. So they'd eventually just be like, getting exhausted, not eating, and die off. And they almost went to extinction and then slowly brought back. And now they're great birds. I love them. But I would, like a golden eagle would be cool.
That would be cool. Something in the sky. I think just big animals. Like I'd love silverback gorillas, giraffes,
terrifying,
elephants.
Though. Giraffe is cool. They're kind of majestic.
Zebra.
Yeah.
There.
Wombat.
The UK's largest bird of prey, the white-tailed eagle, was once widespread across the country.
Oh wow, we did have a white-tailed eagle.
Human persecution led to its extinction in the early 1900s.
There you go, another one that was
white-tailed eagle.
And they just made the white-tailed eagle extinct. Why? What did it ever do to you? Have a white tail?
We kind of were saying along the lines of when we were speaking about aliens, how good humans are getting about
looking after animals,
conservation with animals, reintroducing them evidently as we're doing here.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I'd want something big. I'd either something huge or something intelligent. I think that's why I like the idea of apes being here.
Yeah. I'm also thinking location-wise because I'm trying to think somewhere that I'd go a lot and I'd be able to see it. Like, say you go on a hike up a mountain. Say you're hiking in like Wales or Peak District, Lake District. I'd like it to be there so I could see it.
Oh, what about mountain goat?
I did just think about mountain goats.
Like
they
really
are
steep
cool.
Rock.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe a mountain goat. They're very majestic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a mountain goat.
Yeah, because Jersey's a bit worse for it. Because obviously it's just a small island.
Oh, you not got much.
So I don't think we have foxes. At least I never saw one growing up. So that was almost like a wolf to me. Like when I came to London,
wow,
and there were just foxes in the streets. Like when you don't have that growing up, it's like, why is there a little red wolf in the middle of the street? And this is just normal to you guys.
I would love to have a fox as a pet. Like,
I really tried. We probably weren't.
Oh, I really tried.
The time when I used to put it on my story.
Probably not.
I did a video with George once. So my neighbor in my old house had a decking.
Yeah.
And underneath the decking, a fox had given birth to a bunch of like child foxes. What are they called? Cubs, I guess.
They're like kits or something.
What's a baby fox called?
Little foxy.
A cub, a kit, or a pup.
Kit.
Yeah. Oh, we got 2 out of 3 there.
Damn, I nailed that.
But yeah, they're adorable, and I used to sort of feed them ham and cheese and that kind of stuff.
Lunchables.
Don't know if I was supposed to. I don't think you're really supposed to, but they're too cute.
Yeah, that's the thing. They always say, "Oh, don't feed the wildlife." I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Shoot me. I'm gonna. Yeah. Oh my god. Have you seen? Oh yeah.
As long as it's like good food.
We've spoken about the geese that are popping up near us. Is it the American goose? It's not
the Egyptian goose.
The Egyptian goose.
Yeah.
Keeps
stunning.
Oh my god, it won't leave our building, and I carry around this
they are beautiful.
This bag of oats in case I bump into it, but I'm nervous to feed it because it's shitting everywhere around where we live.
Oh god!
And I think I'll get into trouble for feeding it, but maybe. I'm gonna do it at some point. I love feeding birds.
Yeah, but they say, don't they? Like, don't feed ducks and stuff. Oats is one of the things.
Don't do
you
bread.
Can give it.
I looked up
because
because I was like, I don't want to bloat it.
Give them like peas and stuff. Yeah, if you're gonna go feed the ducks, bring a bunch of frozen peas. I love it.
Actually, I've got peas as well. I could just go do peas because I've just got this bag of oats in my pocket. Not now. Well, I should have it in now, actually. That's a good point. Thank you.
No, guys, let us know if you want us to bring the Egyptian goose on the next episode for a guest.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do it.
Because we will.
No, but I really do think I could tame that because it's there so often.
A bird brain, sorry.
And it would... No, but oh my God. My grandparents had a runner duck.
Really?
For years. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're just like, they'll just come up to you stroke it. And it wasn't one that like they owned. It just came into the garden and I think it must have belonged to someone because they're not like wild, are they?
They're such funny shapes, aren't
and,
they? Like elongated It's like you've got a duck on Photoshop and just drag the
stretch
wax up.
stretch it out.
Forgot to hold shift or whatever.
It's like that game you used to play on the computer where you like adjust the bird so it would fly all the way. There was like a game that you play and you could make the neck a different
I've never played that in my life.
I'd love a runner duck. So that's what I'm thinking of doing with the Egyptian goose.
Right.
I think that'll work.
Well, now there's that, all the, like Middle Dock, North Dock, South Dock, or whatever in Canary Wharf, all the water. As it gets sunnier and sunnier, we'll start having packed lunches by the water, and then we can start really building a bond with it.
Oh, hell no.
You got a spider tattoo. You got any other animal tattoos?
No,
Was that the only one? Is that because of Spider-Man rather than your love for spiders?
Yeah, it's for Spider-Man. That is for Spider-Man. Yeah, it's right here. It comes down from the top of my neck. It's on a bit of string. It's out there somewhere. I would show you right now, but it's not easy to like. Just maybe I can get a little bit on. You see that?
No.
What about that now?
Wait, let me pull your top down.
Okay, but don't stretch anything.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you got the whole spider out. Can we see that? Nice, very cool.
There you go. But yeah, that's I've only got 2 tattoos. That and the shape of Italy on my shoulder, which I got when I was 16 in Jersey as well.
That is very bad. That's the cutest thing ever. The fact that you got an Italy one in Jersey.
You should get a Jersey one in Italy, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, because I've got family in Jersey, and you could get a tattoo in Jersey at 16 with parental consent, whereas UK it's 18.
Oh, really?
So I was 16. And I was like, I'd love to have a tattoo to show off at school. So when I was visiting family, I was just like, oh, I'm just going to book in for a tattoo.
Were you quite tall and muscular then? It sounds like a really... Were you tall, muscular?
Oh, were you Leng by any chance?
Because I would have thought that the reason, a part of the reason you have to wait till 18, obviously it's potentially a lifelong decision, although you can get them removed, is because you'll grow a lot. So like at 16, I'm pretty sure I was like 5'2".
Right,
so if I'd got Jersey tattooed on my back, I was 5'2" and skinny, and now I'm 6'2" and muscular.
Of course, yeah.
And a feminist and very rich. And
feminist and rich, and I smell great.
And I can cook and I can clean.
I've got this genetic condition where I can't get BO. Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't like really tall and really muscular, but I was working out at that point, and I was like fairly tall, not.
I should have just asked, has it changed much as you changed shape, rather than being like, and we always this.
Oh, what, like the shape bit stuff?
Yeah, because obviously.
Oh no, it's the same. No, it's the same. Yeah,
the skin's grown.
It might actually be a bit wonky now, like because it's. Yeah, I guess maybe it's kind of like come round a little bit. It might have changed slightly. I'll have a proper look. I never, obviously, because it's there. I forget I have it. I don't look at it.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind. But yeah. Would you get tattoos or no?
No, I'm too.
What if I got you one?
Yeah, I get it. We got a question from Brandon. Do you want to read this one out?
No, thanks. Sorry, Brandon. Right, moving on. I'm joking. All right, Brandon said, what's your thoughts on scientists trying to bring back animals that died out through evolution? For example, scientists are trying to bring back the woolly mammoth, and just last week that had a breakthrough by genetically modifying the DNA of mice by crossing it with that of a mammoth, and are hoping to do the same with elephants within the near future.
Yeah, that is funny. We made woolly mice. Can we pull up a picture of them?
Oh, that's cool.
And they weren't that woolly.
Oh, we just be
they're
doing
a little
shit
bit.
now.
They essentially look like hamsters with hair gel.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Like that looks like my old hamster Plato.
That is actually insane that we're making them, and that's possible.
Yeah.
I love it though. My personal opinion is brilliant, and I really can't wait for the first mammoth to drop.
It will be really cool.
That's going to be so sick.
But I mean, it depends on what we do with it. Obviously, if it's in a zoo.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it would probably be in quite a nice big field.
Yeah.
Like you go to a wildlife park and the animals, it's not going to be just let loose. So it's like, I guess it's got no choice, has it?
Oh, there you go. Over time, we're going to have this entire lineage of cold adapted elephants that we can put back into the wild and that can interbreed.
To be fair, you'd put them in the Arctic, wouldn't you? Or the Antarctic, surely.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't just keep, like, so they really wouldn't be a threat to humans then.
Well, yeah, it's weird that
we're somewhere cold.
Because I think we're not necessarily going, oh, we're bringing back woolly mammoths from the entire woolly mammoth genome. It's essentially doing what we've done with mice there. It's going, let's take the genes that make them woolly and insert that into the elephant's genome.
Yeah.
And it's it kind of is, it's a bit playing God. I know we don't necessarily believe in God, but it's
God, yeah.
It's an interesting, there are ethical questions.
It is a weird one, isn't it? 'Cause I think it's sick. I love the idea of bringing back a woolly mammoth, but then I'm like, it went extinct for a reason. You shouldn't.
But it's, I think if they just hadn't been able to compete against other things. But I think the fact that we had such a big impact.
Did we hunt it to extinction?
We very much were
Fair.
big contributors.
But then you could argue we are on this planet for a reason. Like we were culling them, maybe.
They went extinct around 10,000 years ago due to a combination of factors, including a warming climate that affected their habitat and hunting pressure from early humans.
It's such a tough one because, like, you could say, "Oh, let's bring back every animal we've had an effect on their livelihood," but you're going to be bringing back so many animals.
Yeah, I mean, 99.9% of species ever have gone extinct, and
then
it's the way the world works.
Yeah, exactly.
But then if it is us,
and then you get these new species that come about and stuff like. Well, if pandas go extinct, which they might,
probably not now.
If I have anything to do with it. Then no, true, they're doing well on Minecraft now, actually. But if they were to, would we be like, actually, let's bring them back? Because then you get to a point where nothing ever goes extinct ever again. You don't really get anything new, and the Earth is as it is for the rest of our lives, and we don't get any new drops.
I mean, it just depends on how much the climate changes, how much all that kind of stuff changes.
Saber-toothed tiger, do we bring that back?
And at what
giant sloth?
How are people going to react when the first human that's killed by a woolly mammoth hits the news?
Yeah.
Because you bring back woolly mammoths, okay, you put these woolly elephants essentially in places where elephants can't survive now, and they might be good for the ecosystem, they might be bad, they might be good or bad for biodiversity.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because the ecosystem has changed to adapt, and now you just throw that in there. Do you know what? Bring them back.
Because that's the same thing with bison. We're going like, oh, they did all these good things. We expect it to be good, but you can never really map out because you can't really tell how things are gonna play out.
But woolly mammoths are just cool,
good,
so it's a tough
bad.
one. Woolly rhinos would be cool to bring back as well.
Yeah,
but hey,
I really think we should have. It's too complicated, and we should probably read slightly more about the ethics of it. But in terms of like inserting genes into humans, because that's got to be coming so soon. Like
that
CRISPR
would
and all
be
that
nice.
Kind of stuff. Like imagine just going like, oh, I can make a woolly Isaac.
Well, I was hoping to be like Spider-Man, but if you want to make me woolly,
or like Spider-Man, yeah.
Fine, make me woolly, but I wanted to shoot webs.
We could insert chimpanzees' muscle mass gaining genes into us, and so our natural build.
I've already got it, pal.
Wham.
What else cool could we have? Echolocation, maybe.
Better eyesight. We could have the gene that elephants have that make them 400 times less likely to get cancer than humans.
That'd be nice.
A bunch of stuff like that. We could just go, oh, genes from everywhere.
Then we're not human anymore. What are we?
Yeah.
Not cyborg. What are we?
Oh, actually,
combination.
Just one more thing. Actually, bringing back, I would love for us to bring back like slightly ancient hominids. Just
let's
actually bring back a Neanderthal.
Yeah, and just have a conversation with it.
And a Denisovan and Homo naledi.
Yeah, that.
Homo habilis.
Yeah, no.
Homo
do you know what would
erectus.
happen though? You bring back a Neanderthal, and it goes, "You wiped us out, you motherfucker!" And it starts.
No, we wouldn't tell
out.
him. We wouldn't tell him.
Yeah.
But then there's all the ethical things of like the whole, having an entire being's existence to be almost like a scientific display for entertainment. Just going like, oh, we've brought them back, and okay, we can do some research. But I mean, a big part of the reason that Neanderthal is in that box and doesn't really is because we just wanted to, because it's cool.
Yeah, but then we do everything because we want to.
I think it would be really interesting. I would just, because I've always wanted to just, especially like an Australopithecine, like going back sort of like millions of years, like Australopithecus africanus, like just going back to like a very ancient human and just being like, wow, this really is
look at it,
such a bizarre, like half human, like half modern ape.
Yeah, that
would just be really
I'd love to see the transitionary. Like, yeah, that's true.
And you could watch them interact with tools and stuff, and you could learn so much.
Then does that not wipe out anyone who thinks, not wipe out, but does that not like remove any doubt about natural selection and like evolution? No, evolution at least. Because like if you can see a part of the evolutionary period, we've brought it back, and we're like, look, it's clearly like halfway between ape, halfway between getting to human now. Do people not go, oh, maybe I can see it? Or do people go, no, you just made that in a lab?
Yeah, that's true. I think,
same.
But I think the evidence we have for evolution now is as overwhelming as seeing one in the flesh.
True.
Like we have like countless fossils of all these different like intermediary human species, ones that have gone extinct.
Yeah.
Like we have their campfires, their ancient burial sites, caves cave paintings. Like
Rose toys.
I really want to do an episode at one point on endogenous retroviruses, because it's like, it's a really cool, but probably the most compelling line of evidence to prove evolution, which is probably, I think, like the most undeniable. And it's just really fascinating to get into, that can't be explained away in ways that sometimes fossils or DNA and that kind of stuff can. I think it'd be a really interesting episode at some point, but it'd be interesting to see how that kind of stuff is
How it plays out.
rationalized by people who deny it. But
Yeah.
I think anyone who goes like, oh, I don't know if I believe in evolution, it is a case of just like, the evidence is there and you can look it up and find out.
Yeah. So I mean, even look at this guy who's just sat here.
Yeah, look at him.
That's great.
He's evolved a third eye.
Oh no, he just called you a celeb. Good thing he doesn't have a mic.
What the hell?
But we're doing other cool science shiznit at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Not just bringing things back. We're growing meat in labs.
Oh hell yeah.
That's right.
I always thought this meat must have been grown in a lab, because it really is spectacular.
Don't look at it as well as you say it. Oh my god! But the balls weren't. You already had the balls.
Yeah, no. This is a controversial one at the moment.
Yeah, the Food Standards Agency plan to approve it.
Yeah, they do.
Before you know it, we're going to have mince in the stores. You're going to be eating a bolognese made in a lab.
Made in a lab. Within
Made in
the next 2 years, they expect it. Meat, dairy, and sugar. Because there's already dog food with meat grown in factory vats. That's now gone on sale in the UK.
That's crazy.
For the first time this month.
It is actually mental that we can just do that.
Yeah.
We are kind of playing God now. We're just making meat.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
I mean, Singapore in 2020 authorized the sale of cell-cultivated meat
Wow.
for human consumption. And then the US 3 years later, Israel last year, Italy and some US states like Alabama and Florida have instituted bans.
No.
It definitely feels like a more emotional reaction, the banning it.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, this feels wrong.
Well, let's go through. So we've got the arguments for and against, just to make sure we
Go ahead.
cover all of the. So ethical. One of the obvious first things you think about is veganism, right?
Yeah.
Because you go, well, what are the main reasons people become vegan? Some people find they'll do it for health, cutting meat out of their diet. Some people think it's going to be healthier for them in the long term, that kind of stuff. But it's mainly animal suffering, right?
Sure, yeah.
So killing animals for food, and they suffer in factory farming. So one would imagine most vegans, if they're exclusively vegan for moral reasons, will go, I have no problem with that. Because there's no animal suffering.
What, as in, yeah, I think they'd probably be like, oh no, that's a good thing to do. I'm glad you meat eaters are doing that. I still don't think they would eat it.
Why?
I don't know. I just think, like, I'm trying to picture myself as a vegan, and if this stuff came out, it still feels wrong. It's kind of like a loophole to go against something you believe in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but if you trace the roots of your belief to,
I know, but not all people are like that.
That's true.
People are very much like this. They're untrustworthy. So something like this, they'll be like, this meat says it's grown in a lab. I still don't trust the ethics of it. I'm still gonna stick to my beliefs. It's not worth the risk of eating that, going against everything I've done for the last 10 years, just so I can have some meat. I'm sure they don't even want meat anymore.
But they'll probably eat like corn meat, which is, again, just a protean.
That's true.
That's essentially what corn is. Like it's this, but with a fungus instead.
Yeah, that is true. It'd be
interesting to see how
very
the
interesting
react
to see the reaction.
But you'd imagine a lot of them would go rationally if I'm against it for animal suffering and death.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's something we've spoken about before. It's interesting because it got pulled up again when we were speaking about ethics recently, and us saying that we try to be moral and stuff. And someone was like, oh, you guys aren't moral. I know you guys are meat eaters.
True.
And it was something we should have focused a bit more in the exposing our moral hypocrisy.
How do they know we're meat eaters? You've got to look about us.
I think we've said in episodes that we're not vegan or vegetarian.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things we can go like, we're not
it's
perfect. Unnecessary animal suffering, but we do it anyway. And can we justify it? Maybe not even. Maybe just convenience and taste overshadows it, even though when we weigh them up rationally and logically, we go, actually, I'd rather them not die and suffer.
Yeah. I could wipe my butt with just water in my hand and not use toilet roll.
What? You could.
I don't.
Why are you saying that? I've missed the thread.
Because I'm using toilet roll, which is bad for the environment. But in
Oh, I
theory, I
see.
could just lick. No, I could
Ruh.
just use water, not.
Why'd I say ruh, not bruh?
Ruh, let me do it. Ruh.
Bro said he could lick his own ass and I started barking.
Let me get some of that.
Someone called animal control him out.
I can taste it.
Oh,
shout out to
I'd
the
be barking. I'd be
vegans,
barking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it is really interesting because obviously, I think two things for me are I'm very big on wildlife and conservation.
Yeah. So,
I'm evidently a bit of a hypocrite there on animals, but on conservation,
yeah.
you know, if you don't have a big field that's going to be plowed for an animal to live there, you don't have as much deforestation.
Yep.
Obviously, it does take up a lot of land to have animals, so
Yeah.
you can use that land for other things.
Beans.
Doesn't require as much water. Doesn't require as much energy loss because, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the pyramid of energy where you have the predators at the top, the grazers at the bottom, and sort of the amount of energy that a cow, for example, has to consume
Yeah.
to produce a bit of meat is quite inefficient because you have heat loss, movement loss, all that kind of stuff. It's much more energy efficient to create meat in the lab.
Yeah. Plus less methane from the cow's fart.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's true.
So it's
Greenhouse gases
have a good effect on the what's it? The climate.
Yeah, on the climate.
And there's health benefits. I didn't know about these.
Well, I mean, if you haven't got cows and birds, you don't have to worry about bird flu outbreaks.
Yes, that's true.
Bovine.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
You haven't got animals to give antibiotics to, so you don't have antibiotic resistance issues.
True.
You're also not flooding your meat filled with antibiotics.
It's also really jarring when you're trying to get an appointment at the NHS and there's like 7 cows ahead of you. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
I'll just start going to the vets now.
Yeah.
I already have.
And yeah, nutrition's another cool one because you can obviously, like, meat isn't perfect. There's a lot of saturated fats.
Sure.
Stuff like that, you know, they say you shouldn't really consume red meat more than once a week.
So you can make it pink.
That's not great for your arteries and your heart and stuff. So you
make it blue.
make it blue.
Make that shit blue.
No, you can engineer the food, the lab grown meat to have less saturated fat, to have more omega-3.
Yeah.
To have a higher percentage of protein, maybe. You could fortify it with lots of other nutritious things. So you get fortified cereals now that have more iron in and vitamin B12 and stuff. You could just do that with lab grown meat.
Fortify that shit. Economics of it.
There's economics, yeah.
Oh, there's economics, all right.
So if you've got places that don't have great agricultural land or a lot of it, that can give them a stable protein source. Less reliance on livestock, which are obviously, as we were talking about with other things,
issues with climate and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're vulnerable to climate change and
by the way,
pandemics and stuff.
This would be a great sort of subject to write something for school about.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like go through the pros and cons. I don't know if it would come into economics or probably could be.
Yeah,
you can chuck this into any subject probably. If you're looking for something to write about, lab grown meat or us.
And science as well.
Yeah.
It's good for, it could be in a science class because new industries, new jobs in biotech, scientific advancements in cellular agriculture and synthetic biology. There's there's a world of pros that make it, you know, very beneficial. But
can I hop in with a moral question for you?
Oh, go on.
If they could make they can make human lab grown meat. Say they make human lab grown meat. You trying that?
No.
Still no, because then
Still
this
no.
is like the vegan argument of like
There's no suffering there. Yeah.
You take away any bad part of it.
Yeah.
And you're saying vegans would eat the meat now because it's synthetic.
Because there's no animal suffering. Yeah.
No animal suffering. But all the bad parts of eating human meat are now taken away.
But I don't not eat human meat because of human suffering.
Wait, why don't you eat it?
I think
because it requires the death of a human, or
or
it goes against your morals.
This type of stuff I definitely acknowledge is harder to justify with secular ethics. So I think a really strong argument in favor of ethics coming from God is that, you know, if you've got divine command theory and you're saying like God has said humans are special and I've created them to be special and they have inherent value and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then you go, well, I'd never eat human meat because like human, you know, they're not
They're
there
different.
for, they're different. Like they have this divine, you know, that this meat is from a creation that was created in the image of God. So this is like blasphemous or it's sacred or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
With secular ethics, you have to be more, I think you have to be more indirect in terms of what would the knock-on negative consequences be on society in a society where we blurred the lines between what you can and what you can't do to humans. And eating meat, I think, potentially breaks a line that will have negative consequences on society. But am I potentially dipping my toe in the slippery slope fallacy and going like, I was wrong because of a slippery slope? You know, those kind of arguments are made for homophobic people. They go like, oh, well, if you allow homosexuals to get into relationships and you know, and sleep together and stuff, well, then what about humans and animals and stuff? And you go, oh no, that's a slippery slope fallacy. Like, you're talking about one thing that's two consenting adults and one thing that's with an animal that can't consent. So, you know, that argument's invalid. And am I maybe making a similarly invalid argument by saying, oh, it's a slippery slope if you start allowing people to eat human lab-grown meat? It, you know, maybe you'll, and you go, well, maybe the other things that are at the end of the slippery slope, you can justify that they're immoral by, you know, on the facts by themselves. You don't need to put up the slippery slope. You've got to say why this is necessarily immoral, and maybe it's more difficult because you're right. If there's no human suffering, if there's no diseases that we'd get necessarily from consuming that meat, like where is the
why not
human suffering and human flourishing being weighed up in there? Maybe it is fine.
It is a tough one because I mean we're so used to not eating human meat that it feels so wrong, but there's no different. We're still animals. And does it not make more sense to eat your own meat than another animal's meat? Same as drink breast milk over cow's milk is kind of like similar. And
it's always a tough one trying to figure out whether to go, I feel like this is wrong. This type of thing, for example, this like cannibalism. Essential what is cannibalism going like, should I stick to my instinct of it? I think it's wrong, but I can't necessarily logically justify it at the moment. Or am I supposed to release myself from this? Because if I can't justify it as being immoral, am I therefore being irrational? And am I supposed to depart from that? It's really interesting. It's a great question.
I wonder, you let us know in the comments what you would do. Would you try human lab-grown meat or not?
Well, 1 in 5 Britons would apparently. According to this YouGov thing.
Which I'm not surprised about. That's I think that's the sort of number I'd expect, you know. 1 in 5.
Wow, lab-grown human meat. Can we get a poll on just lab-grown meat?
I mean, you'd hope that like maybe
like how many? Most
3 in 5, 4 in 5 would eat lab-grown meat. I mean, if you take into account people who are like, oh, that's weird, or people who are like vegan and it goes against like their belief, like rule set they've given themselves, or like whatever.
Only a quarter would eat it. Lab-grown meat. If it
wow. Oh, so still more than human, but I mean, different studies, but still crazy.
Wow. From 20 to 26, it just being human to animal. I know Food Standards Agency said that 34%, but that's still low. I do think that humans are naturally quite fickle though, and I think
it takes a lot for us to change and be like that. Like when corn first came out, people were like, nah, I'm not eating that. But now corn is like, meat eaters will eat corn.
That's the thing. Like, I eat corn. When I've got to make it for you and live at some point.
No thanks.
I make this like, it's a very old like family recipe, but it's like chicken in a pasta with like creamy sauce, broccoli, peas, sweet corn, onion, garlic, all that kind of stuff. And honestly, it's so nice.
And with corn mince or?
And I make it with chicken that's corn mince because my sisters went vegetarian for a little bit growing up, and I was like, I don't want to stop making this pasta. And obviously, when you've got a massive family like me, you can't have some people having this. You just start making dishes that everyone will eat. Made it with corn chicken, and it's really nice because it never gets dry or stringy. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good, and it's got similar protein stats, all this kind of stuff, and yeah, it is really nice. So like, I think there are a lot of, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, if lab grown meat all of a sudden is in people's shelves, and you've got a consumer that goes, okay, I can buy this chicken that's £4, or I can buy this lab grown chicken that's £2.
Yeah,
it's also got less saturated fat. It's got more omega-3. It's fortified with iron. It's cheaper and it tastes just as good. Yeah. Because this isn't like a corn thing where it's like, it's mushrooms or a fungus pretending to be meat.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it doesn't taste the same. it's meat, it's
Yeah.
proteins, it's, you know, meat isn't that complicated. It's,
No.
you know, proteins are just sequences of amino acids. And once you got those proteins in this like stringy muscular form, like it's going to taste pretty similar.
Yeah.
And if you go, it's cheaper. Obviously, we're about to go on all the arguments against it. So I'm not saying there are no arguments against it, but I do think the typical consumer will release themselves from that kind of like, oh, this is weird, it's lab grown, and go, it's cheaper, tastes just as good.
I actually think like the older
I'll just do it.
population will be more hesitant to it because they'll be like, no, I like meat. That's what, this is the real stuff. That they're just doing fake shit now. Whereas the younger generation might be more open to it.
Yeah, and older generation, I think the main thing that we're talking about with religious people going, you can't eat humans because they're sacred as well. That's why I think it's illegal in places like Florida and what was the southern state in America? Was it Texas? Alabama. And I think a lot of places that will be very religious will be more likely to outlaw it on moral grounds. So I think it will be way more popular in secular places. I mean, obviously UK is now majority secular, so
True.
I think in the UK it'll be much bigger than it will be in America. But I it's on my Twitter feed at the moment. There's a lot of discussion around it, and people just going like, you know, I love my steak and cows and farmers, but we'll get onto it because it's not a one-sided.
No, that's true.
Thing. So let's go for against. So
you've got the cost. It's currently more expensive, which it would be. Anything is in the beginning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you can make it in bulk, and you've got enough labs and all of that.
Yeah, like renewable energy used to be so expensive, and now solar, wind, all that kind of stuff is a fraction of the.
It also requires significant investment in research, infrastructure, technology. It's a new field, so it's still starting up. It is expensive to begin with,
and that's tough because you've got to do a cost benefit analysis. Going like, this money that we're pumping into this lab grown meat, we could put into homelessness or you know, researching disease and curing them. And it's like, you know, how do we allocate that? But maybe in the long term, if it's healthier,
get subsidized,
all that kind of stuff. Maybe it ends up being cheaper and healthier and better for the world in general. So the investment one's a tough one. And obviously that money does go into the pockets of some people. It goes into pockets of scientists, researchers, but then at the same big biotech companies, which we'll get onto with the economics bit in a bit.
Yeah. Then you've got energy consumption.
Oh yeah.
Fossil fuels will be used most likely.
Yeah, because at the moment, if we're doing all this and we're going, oh, don't worry, we're not making cows that are farting methane.
Yeah.
But we are making this lab with energy and we're getting that energy from fossil fuels. It's like, oh well, it's not green.
No.
So we'd have to we'd like to but then we like to think that the world's turning towards renewable energy and
you'd hope so.
And perhaps nuclear energy.
We're getting there. It takes us
We're
time,
having an episode on that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got culture.
Yeah,
which we briefly touched on. It's just unnatural question.
Natural, yeah.
The taste.
It has that. It does give you that instinctive, like, oh, there's something not right about the idea of a lab-grown pork chop.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is strange.
And it's gonna need to taste just as good, if not better, to sell a lot of people.
Yeah.
Price and taste are going to be the two main things.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, once you get if you get people on board like mentally, it has to hit those. Like, it has to be cheaper. Or same price. I think people would rather go for the real thing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So it would have to be cheaper and taste just the same.
Uh-huh.
And then you got the economics of it, like the impact on farming and agriculture. A lot of farmers who just they have livestock. Then what?
Yeah, if you're a farmer there going like this field costs a lot to run. This cow is expensive to feed, and this scientist next door is undercutting me with meat. Like, they're going to go out of business.
Yeah, which is that's a difficult one. I don't know how they navigate that.
Yeah, the government, that's where the government needs to sort of, because I mean, it's inevitable in all fields, isn't it? Like, you go like, you know, when we first brought in tractors that are doing the jobs of 100, you know, people that would be picking tomatoes or potatoes and stuff, you kind of go like, well, that one man driving a tractor is now replacing these people. But you used to have, you know, 90% of the workforce working in agriculture and farmland, and they moved to other things. So the government should step in and go, okay, although this is natural, like with advancing technology, you do lose some fields.
Yeah.
We need to provide a pathway for these people that were farmers. Maybe even go, listen, farmers, like we want to inject a load of money into biotechnology and have these lab grown. You've got all this land, rather than having a cow in the middle, let's add a big factory where we're making these lab grown meats, and we're going to educate you. Part of our investment in this is we don't want to see your farm going out of business and you losing your generations of work and effort they've gone to keeping this farm.
Yeah.
We're going to train you and educate you and teach you how to, be involved in this process. And yeah.
Or we give them mammoths. Chuck
Oh
mammoths in
my
those fields.
goodness.
That's better.
Yeah.
But you end up with it's a field with high barriers to entry. So you'll end up with like dominance for large biotech companies. It's not like you're going to get small startups that are making lab grown meat.
Because at the moment,
not monopolized.
you could start a chicken farm or
yeah.
chicken farm is probably one of the cheapest
Or you
things
could sell
possibly
eggs
start.
locally. Like
Yeah.
you could just pop meat out.
And then you might be able to save up and buy a cow and stuff and get into that relatively easily.
Yeah.
Buy a cow, but
And it's family owned stuff. Like we're talking about farming, but
if you want to go, actually, I want to start making lab grown meat. That's so complicated.
It's not
You can't.
something you can just do. Yeah.
No. And then do you have biotech companies potentially being a bit shady or going, if everyone can do it, then the consumer gets a bunch of choice and you go, oh, I'll give it to that tiny farmer who's doing this lab grown meat because they're doing it ethically and they're not pumping it full of chemicals and they're, paying everyone a good wage and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If it's a couple of big biotech companies, they can hold the price up. They can be a bit shady with how they deal with the meat.
Yep. That's right.
And
then it begs the question of health, long-term health effects there may be. We don't know. It's new science.
Yeah.
It may on paper sound healthier, sound better, but you just don't know. So strict regulations are required. And you'd hope that, thorough research is in place and it doesn't hit the markets till it's completely safe. But you don't really know like long-term effects.
No. And that will come from all the things like preservatives that we have to add to it because it's, and stuff like that. Because I think like scientifically, I think that's something that the scientists behind it are really trying to educate the public on a lot at the moment. It's not as if lab grown meat is like necessarily a different kind of meat. Like we were saying, like it's just chains of amino acids and proteins and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there might be like some questions going like, oh, well, if it's not done naturally, maybe it will have a slightly different balance of fats to proteins to this kind of stuff. But I don't think any scientists are seriously going like this type of meat because it's lab grown itself is going to have any long-term benefits because it's just going to go into us. It's a protein. It's going to go into our stomach. It's going to be digested and broken down into the more fundamental elements like any other meat. It's more like once we've got this, what kind of stuff do we add to it? Obviously it is heavily processed, but like we were saying, like just because like food being processed doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Processing can mean just freezing something or drying it or, cutting it up, if you get an orange that's been pulled into segments and put in a plastic pot, it's not really any worse for you. Maybe the plastic leaching is, but the fact that it's been processed and split into segments doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
It's just that there are a lot of processing processes that are bad for you. So yeah, interesting. There's a lot of stigma and a lot of education that's going to have to come a lot with it, and a lot of regulation. You're gonna have to make sure we do it right because things could go wrong. And the public could lose trust in it very quickly.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
From the start we don't go, by the way.
Yeah.
Us have to be doing this in a way that's healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd eat it.
Yeah, I'd eat it as well.
With the right reassurances.
Yeah. To be honest, I'd rather eat real meat, but I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah. And that will just be me, I think.
But I think that's so natural for humans, just going like, we've evolved for so long to look at animals and be like, we really care.
Yeah.
Because our ancestors that cared about seeing the animal die and then getting the meat and eating it fresh will have lived longer than people go, oh, I don't really know what that meat is or where it's come
let me
from.
eat that,
Let me eat it. Or even, ones that are happy to eat humans. So I think it's natural that it's baked into our sort of conscious moral kind of system.
Yeah.
But I mean, could you see yourself going like, you know what? If it's been out for a year or two and everyone's going, oh, like we now know that it's very safe. It's not.
I think I'll make the change as soon as it becomes like the better option.
But what does better mean for you?
Like
healthier?
I don't know. Because
I take it you won't care that much if it's a quid more or less expensive.
So
out of touch.
Yeah,
very rich,
I'm out of touch. So, as long as it's if it's £100 cheaper, then maybe. But I'm joking. But
what's chicken breast? 300.
Yeah, well, chicken breast is like $3,000 at the moment, isn't it? No, God. I honestly, it's the long term things. Like I don't know long term of eating lab meat, so I know long term eating meat it's fine. So I'll do that until, let's say, 10 years.
10 years?
And then
Is that how long you'd wait?
until they get rid of real meat, or honestly, I'll probably just be eating real meat for my life. But you guys crack on with the lab. You guys crack on with the lab stuff.
That is so surprising.
Yeah, not that I've got anything against it. Why not stay with real meat if it's still available and cheap and it's fine?
Is that just an instinct or it just makes you feel a certain way, or are you rationally going like
rationally, like I know this stuff is good for me and works, so I'll keep doing that. No, the only time I would swap is if it became a problem to eat real meat, you know?
So even if they were like, by the way, this lab-grown meat is cheaper, it's healthier, it's more ethical, better for the environment, doesn't require as much energy, and sort of all the cons were like, all the pros were in effect and all the cons were sort of
depends if I believe
dismissed. But if you did.
If I did, then yeah.
Oh, so your ickiness for like, oh, it's lab-grown meat could be overshadowed by a rational, it's healthy, it's better for you.
Yeah, and I could 100% trust like where it's come from and like everything. But you know, in the beginning, I'll be very, very like cautious of it for sure.
Are you quite? Do you naturally feel quite skeptical of? So obviously, like because you're a man of science, do you tend to look at scholarly articles like if this was coming out and it's been a year and they go new study shows that long-term effects, it's healthy and it is better for you? Do you kind of go, I need to look at this study myself? Do you read the headline and go, oh, okay, a study says it's safe, it's safe? Like how skeptical are you?
Yeah, I'd look more. I'd definitely look more into it. Like medication, I'd be the same with medication. Like if something comes out, or if something, say something came out and it extends your life by 10 years, I'm not going to be jumping the gun to take it.
Wow, interesting.
There's no rush.
Yeah, there is no rush.
And I'd feel the same with meat. No rush to change meat if the original's still fine. So, so yeah, I could be forced to it for sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of like how cynical are you of science and stuff? But speaking of a different kind of cynic, Diogenes.
Lovely segue.
Thanks, Madison, for the question. Please talk about Diogenes the philosopher. He's quite a controversial dude. Yeah. I don't really agree with him. Okay, next segment.
I hate him. Moving on. I don't know anything about him, so.
You might have heard the occasional, when there's the occasional anecdote come up, you might go, oh, I've kind of heard of that.
Sure.
So he was the son of a banker.
Wanker.
Is it Sinope? I actually don't know how to so many of these, I'll just read them and I'll go, that's why I'm glad I'm in audiobooks more, because I'm going to learn how to pronounce a lot of these things. But yeah, he was in Sinope. He was the son of a banker, and he got accused of defacing currency. Whether it was him or his dad, we don't really know. It's from about 400 BCE. So, you know,
I trust him.
It's you know, history is sort of filled with legend and myth around that time.
Yeah,
a lot of different people reporting on a lot of these stories a long time after they happened as well. But he anyway, he got accused of defacing currency. And he essentially got exiled from Sinope. And he went to Athens, and he famously said, had I not been cast out of my city, I would not have become a philosopher. And so essentially, there's a story of him essentially going to an oracle, and the oracle said, you should deface currency. And he's kind of like, I've already kind of done that. But rather than going and defacing currency, he goes to Athens and he defaces the currency, which is society. He
shits on everything.
Literally, yes. Like, actually, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're just shit.
His whole thing is
everywhere.
like he's very famous for peeing and pooping and wanking in public. So he was essentially one of the founders of cynicism.
So why don't you like him? You love that stuff.
It's because I wanted it to be me.
It should have been me.
When everyone talks about jerking it in public, everyone speaks about Diogenes before they speak about me.
Oh, that's so true.
No, but he, at this point, he just, you know, so he was cast out of his home, lost all of his belongings. Obviously, son of a banker, he will have had
been wealthy,
a good life compared with a lot of people around him. All of a sudden has nothing, no belongings, no home, no city. This was in a period as well where everyone was very loyal to their city-states. They weren't like, oh, I'm a man of this, you know, Greek Empire, Persian Empire, Roman Empire, blah, blah, blah. They were like, oh, I'm an Athenian, I'm from Athens. And he was very much like I'm a civilization of the earth. I'm a human. which is quite cool, a bit rogue. But yeah, he rejected materialism. He lived in a giant ceramic jar near a market, and he would genuinely sit in there. He would have no belongings. He would pee.
I think I have heard of this guy now, actually.
He would poop. I think it was a giant ceramic wine jar, was it? But yeah, let's pull up a little photo because there's art of it. There you go, that third one along. Wow, that's a great one.
Just put himself in an
so he would just sit in this giant sort of almost like a sphere that's got a bit cut through it, and he would just chill in there.
Everywhere. Wow.
And he really believed that we didn't need material goods. We've also spoken briefly about Epicurus and how he says, oh, like the real simple pleasures in life are where you get true happiness from. Having a roof over your head, having a nice meal, having a warm bed to sleep in. Diogenes was like, no, you don't need any of it. There was like a famous story of him. He literally had like a cloak, a staff, this ceramic jar, and that was pretty much it. And he had a bowl to eat and drink from. And he saw a boy once drinking water from a puddle with his hands, and he picked up his bowl and he tossed it aside, and he went, the fool I am to be carrying such superfluous baggage along with me. And he really was like, if you don't absolutely need it, I don't want it.
I do like that.
Yeah.
When I'm packing for a trip, I'm trying to think like that, and then before I know it, I've got a suitcase full of shit I don't need.
Yeah, I would say I'm naturally quite minimalist with my belongings. If I'm going, I don't need it, I don't get it. I very rarely buy anything for myself. I wear pretty much the exact same pair of shoes all the time.
Yeah.
The exact same. I mean, this £10 watch does the job. I feel like I am quite a minimalist. Like,
yeah, I think you are.
I don't really.
You don't wash.
Buy stuff if I don't need it.
You don't have soap.
Yeah.
Toothpaste or anything.
Yeah. What do you like with that kind of stuff?
I try to be. I'm not really a minimalist. I went through a phase of trying to be a minimalist, but I like
having nice things.
Well, I like trinkets.
Yeah.
I really do.
Because you always have like a nice watch. You've got a lot of nice ornaments around your house.
I love trinkets and I love ornaments. I love random shit that you can buy in places.
Yeah. Oh, your mentality would have gone so crazy back in the olden day. I just know the wares you would sell.
Oh, exactly. The silks I would offer.
You'd have one of those shops that you'd walk in and you'd just be like,
a bit of everything.
Bro, today when Bach came up to me, he didn't even say hi this morning. We met in the lobby and he walks up to me and he goes, have you ever heard of a man named Alexander Diogenes? Oh, that wasn't actually the name. This is the worst case where. And I was like, what kind of adventure-ass question is that?
He's like, what quest are you on? What
I
are you
was
doing?
like, bro, I started playing old school RuneScape and he started a quest.
I needed to get straight into my quest.
I can imagine you with one of the sort of like capes of Lothlorien and a
I'd love to wear a
in your
cape
hobbit
as well.
feet.
Yeah. If I could wear cool shit as well, like if I could get away with wearing like cowboy boots around, a cowboy hat, probably would.
When I think we grow into doing bigger videos, and maybe we go with Chip to a ranch in South America. South of the United States of America. We should dress up like cowboys. We should do like a hiking thing with Chris.
That would be nice.
In Lord of the Rings gear.
Yeah.
Really good fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They'd
anyway, yeah, so a big old minimalist. People used to call him, so another part of cynicism. So you have modern cynicism, which is like being cynical of everything, going like, oh, you're only doing that nice thing because you're selfish and you secretly, almost kind of like expecting the worst in people and going like, that's true humans.
Yeah.
This kind of cynicism was kind of different. It was all about living essentially like a dog. Part of that was minimalism, like I said. Part of it was essentially being in tune with you as a human in terms of like nature and just being one with nature. And so everyone used to call him like Diogenes the dog. And they would all see that as an insult, going like, oh, you live like a dog. You're free from these societal constraints. You poo in public, you wank in public, all this kind of stuff. It was almost seen as an insult. But it was almost like his end goal to live like a dog. He saw dogs and went, you guys aren't anxious about tomorrow. You're living in today. You see some crumbs on the floor, you eat it and you're happy because you've got your meal. You don't need wealth or power or anything. You need to pee. You're not going to suffer with a full bladder for your, whilst you eat dinner or whilst you're in company. You just pee or poop or, you get a little bit horny. You jerk it. Do dogs do that?
No,
I know the guy did in.
They air hump and they.
Zach Galifianakis one did in. What's that? Have you seen Due Date?
No.
Oh, it's hilarious.
His dog jerks it.
I feel like we're going to put a list on if we aren't careful with what we're Googling here.
No, they don't.
Do dogs
they don't.
Mounting, thrusting, and masturbation in normal dogs normal behaviors exhibited by a dog. But he's got this like pug, and it's just in the back seat, just going. It's
just jerking
It's
it.
horrible, just straight up.
Wow. Pugs would be the type of dog to jerk it, to be fair.
Yeah, they would. One little bastards.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was considered a dog, but he really looked at dogs and was like, that's how humans should live.
Wow.
Like, what the hell is the point in all of this? What do you think of that?
I like it, but I don't like. I would love to go off grid and live with a campfire and in a log cabin and have a cup of tea, and that's it. But we've gone down a path that doesn't allow that.
I think he's doing a good thing in terms of like making an important point that like, you know, to detach ourselves from the material world, to live in the present.
Yeah.
But I don't, and it'd be interesting to know whether he thought all of society should be like that, because he was definitely like naturally a troll. He loved winding people up. Like he would constantly spit at people and on people.
He was just an arsehole, really.
There was a famous time where he got invited into a rich man's mansion, and the rich man said, if you're going to do anything, by the way, please just don't spit everywhere. And Diogenes spat in his face instead. He was just a real dick. But like, he was doing all these things to prove a point. But I wonder if you picked him up and dropped him in a society where everyone was like this, where people were pooping around him and peeing around him, whether he'd be like, actually, maybe we do need societal norms of peeing in a bucket and throwing it in a river or
the thing is, back then you call this guy a philosopher. You put him in Shoreditch now.
Oh yeah.
And you think, what
a nutcase. Yeah.
Nutcase. Yeah.
Nutcase. But to be fair, people at the time really didn't like him that much. People did call him a nutcase. They thought he was crazy.
Later on, they're like, oh, maybe
it tends to be later on, once, you know, you don't have to interact with him, you then go, actually, there are some quite profound philosophical points to learn from this. But yeah, shamelessness, a big part of the cynicism, like we were saying, like urination, masturbation, defamation, eating. I think even the meal thing, like there was a time when he saw a mouse, like he was eating, he left a bunch of crumbs and he was like, I don't want them, the crumbs on the floor.
Yeah.
And a mouse came and had a lovely meal on them, was snacking away.
Yeah.
And he just looked at it and went, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I cast aside those crumbs? Like, why are those crumbs not good enough for me, but they're good enough for a mouse? Like, it's food, it's sustenance, it's you know, that's all that should be important. As long as my belly's full, my balls are empty, my bladder's empty. Like that's, you know, he once really weirdly had this thing like I think it might have been just after he had masturbated, but he was like, if only I could cure my hunger as easy as rubbing my belly. Like the same kind of thing. Like I wish everything was that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, that's called post-nut clarity, that thought.
Yeah. And yeah, the final bit of cynicism is rejecting society and authority.
Right.
So like a lot of it's really funny that despite him being so disrespectful to people, like people with wealth, like the rich man who invited into his home, you think people at the time wouldn't, you know, it would almost be like those artists that sort of die and then all of a sudden their paintings become worthless, like Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just like long after he suffers from poverty, you think he'd be this nutcase and then retroactively. But although a lot of people at the time, especially people that surrounded themselves by him, didn't really like him because obviously he's just, you know, I think there was a time when like a bunch of people started throwing bones at him.
He's just a knob.
Like, you're a knob. And then he just got his penis out and started pissing on the bones. And everyone was like, for goodness sakes.
He honestly sounds insane.
Yes, he was a nutcase. He really was.
Oh my God.
But bloody Alexander the Great found out about him. And obviously Alexander the Great, quite an intimidating force. I think at this time he hadn't quite conquered empires. I think he was just a ruler
so he was just
of a much smaller bit of... I don't actually know if he was Alexander. Yeah, maybe he's Alexander the Good. But still, not someone that if you don't know, you want to mess with.
Yeah.
Diogenes didn't care.
No, just shouted on
His whole point was like going like authority. He didn't quite shit on him. But Alexander the Great, still at the time a powerful man.
Oh, he nutted on him, did he?
He goes up to Alexander the Great. Apparently he goes up to him and I think he saw him resting in a field or something. And he goes up to him, he says, Diogenes, like I've heard a lot about you. Really impressed. I am Alexander the Great. I'll give you anything you ask. Just ask it from me. And he went, move out of the sunlight. Stop blocking the sun.
Fucking insane.
And first of all, to insult someone with that much power and authority, you can imagine someone at the time being like, you know, having a massive ego and being like, you know, speak to me like that and having him executed. Yeah, he just went, stop blocking my sunlight.
And he just did? Or
Yeah, and he did. And he actually, when Alexander walked away from him, said to like his companions, he was like, if I were not Alexander the Great, I would want to be Diogenes. He was quite impressed by it. I think he knew what Diogenes was like.
Yeah.
And was like, I really want to just witness this spectacle of a man. But I think it almost made Alexander appreciate him more.
Yeah.
Because if you hear someone go, oh, you know, I've met this lovely person. He's very anti-materialistic. He doesn't want a lot. It's almost like a great test, being like, okay, you know what? I could give him anything. Here you go, Diogenes. I can give you anything you want. What do you want? And Diogenes could have been like, I'm not going to sit with my principles here. I'm going to ask for a big house or a lot of money. The fact that he turned around and went, stop blocking my sunlight.
Yeah.
I think
true to himself.
I think a reason people respect Diogenes so much is because like he's the ultimate example of practicing what you preach.
Yeah.
Like he stank, he did all these disgusting things. He had that opportunity for wealth and he just didn't care.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity. So he was a real like, you know, he's as far away from being a hypocrite as you could possibly get, which I think a lot of people admire.
Good for him for sticking to his whole brand.
Whole shtick.
Yeah. Even though he was shot and then wanking.
Yeah. And he just, and like, he just didn't think that many people were like that. He famously would walk around in broad daylight with a lantern going like, when people go, what are you doing? Like, why have you got a lit lantern? It's the middle of the day. Like, I'm searching for an honest man. Thought even in daylight with a lantern, he couldn't find
being an arsehole at all time.
Yeah.
Oh, looking for an honest man. You're all fucking frauds.
Yeah, insulting them to their faces, but he would do that.
That's
and
so
I think some people would just be like, I kind of respect it. And another thing was this whole idea, his philosophy was sort of like living in the moment and just kind of going. His idea of philosophy was very much like almost similar to authority, just going like, all these academics are all like, they're all twats. They're all like, you know, they're all
twats.
Yeah. They all think too much of themselves. They're all spending too much time thinking. They insist upon themselves. And so he was a contemporary of Plato. So Plato was knocking around at the same time.
Right.
And he thought they were pretentious. That was the word. I was saying presumptuous. I couldn't get that word out of my head, but I thought they were all quite pretentious, was quite anti-academic, going like, your philosophy's in your books and in your arguments and stuff. Your real philosophy's out here. Come live like me. Like, you know, live in the day, all this kind of stuff. He once famously wound up Plato because Plato was obviously like well respected for being academic. They weren't great with science. You kind of hadn't got the like scientific revolution of like prove everything, testing, experimenting and stuff. But they were starting to build it. Plato was big on definitions. You know, he would teach his students to study definitions and learn what certain words mean, which is important. But Diogenes really didn't like it. And Plato had this definition of a human, which was a featherless biped. So obviously you've got no feathers, we walk on two legs. Can you think of any featherless bipeds that aren't humans? Like naturally are just featherless bipeds? Doesn't immediately spring to mind.
No.
A lot of bipeds are just chickens.
No, because they're not.
But anyway, Diogenes once came into his lecture with a plucked chicken, and then he went, "Behold, Plato's human."
Oh, I quite like him now. I'm starting to like him more.
Yeah,
and more.
in front of his old.
He's like, "Oh, you're so smart, are you?"
Yeah, exactly. Oh, a featherless biped is a bloody plucked chicken. That. Oh, in front of all the students, behold, a featherless biped. And so Plato updated his definitions to call them featherless bipeds with broad flat nails
that have not been plucked.
Yeah, have not been
broad
have
flat
not
nails.
been plucked
Wow.
chicken. But yeah, no, really just abandon societal norms. I think one of the more good things that you can learn from, maybe not the like pissing and coming and shitting in public, but the kind of like cynical idea of shamelessness. He kind of thought that like shame was just stupid. He must have been built different to not feel shame.
Yeah.
But he was kind of right to kind of suggest that people needed to step back and go, this is a societal norm, but is it actually reasonable? Is it logical? Is it something that we can justify? Or do we just do it because it's part of tradition?
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe things like, you know, sacrificing animals and burning witches and stuff and all this kind of stuff. Okay, maybe that's a bit more divine theory, but, you know, a lot of societal norms, he challenged people to go, you know what, that's a societal norm.
Yeah.
But why not? It's almost like the thing last week of me
Oh, shitting on that guy. Yeah.
speaking about small talk, and it's not a societal norm to speak about it. But the comments were surprisingly, I don't know if you saw the TikTok.
No.
And the comments were kind of like, you know what, kind of makes sense. Because then you just figure out straight away whether you want to small talk or not. Like,
No, you're feeding his delusions, guys.
no, yeah, that's very Diogenes, and I think.
If you want to be Diogenes, you go ahead.
I think I don't agree with a lot of him. You know, I think society needs structure and norms and stuff to operate in a good way. But I do think challenging some societal norms.
Yeah.
I think obviously because I have that kind of, whether it is autism or just some sort of neurodivergence, like I look at social situations that like quite like I try and like logically and rationally justify them, which means I probably come across as quite weird quite a lot.
No, what? You're not weird.
It does mean that things like that, like, you know, makes sense to be like, you know what,
Yeah.
do you want a small talk or not?
I will say
like, hell no.
Diogenes is an arsehole anyway, though, because for him to live like that, everyone else can't live like that. So him saying, oh, you could just do this or live like, well, where'd you get your bread from, pal?
Yeah.
Because if everyone lived like you ain't getting any
Yeah.
bread. And then there's no crumbs for that mouse that you had that story about.
And there's disease for everyone. Oh, the water that you want to scoop out of your hands with a puddle.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone's pissed in
Everyone's
it.
dead now.
Yeah. Everyone's dead of.
There's cum everywhere.
Everyone's got cholera because everyone's pooped everywhere.
So yeah.
Who do you think is most like that nowadays?
Well,
I think you were right when you said someone like that would just be labelled as crazy.
yeah. I mean,
we've had him.
There's loads of them in Shoreditch.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
There probably are.
Yeah. All around that area.
Maybe they're more profound people than society gives them credit for.
Or maybe Diogenes was reborn. Placed into many people.
Yeah. Did you ever see the interaction between the homeless man and the guy in the car? This guy drives up, right? And he winds the window down and he's filming himself and he posts it weirdly.
Yeah.
But he says to this homeless man, like, oh, like, you know, this is crazy what they're doing to you. And he's like, what? And he's like, I want you to, like, off the streets. Like, I want them to provide housing for you. And he's like, don't tell me what to do. I don't want housing. And he's like, come on, man. Like, you know, you should want better for yourself. And he's like, I like it here.
I like it here, motherfucker.
And he's generally sat in his chair. He's got his like tent and stuff. And he's on the roadside and he's like, I like it here. And he's like, don't you want more for yourself? And he's like, I got everything I need. I got my tent. I'm sitting out in the sun. I like it here. And the guy gets a bit rattled. And then he starts attacking him and he starts going, imagine a disabled person wants to go past and you know, they haven't got enough time.
Oh, now he's blaming him. He's like,
and the homeless man goes, I've measured out. They've got their 76 inches. And he's like, yeah, but what if it sees 76 inches? And all of a sudden this guy who's like pulled up and he's trying to say to this homeless man, like, oh, you should have better, you should deserve better.
Yeah.
He's almost imposing his own societal norms and expectations. Like, you should have a house over your head and a clean bath and a nice meal every night. And this guy is very like Diogenes, sitting there going like, I'm happy here.
Yeah.
I've got my tent. I've got my chair. I'm in the sunlight. I'm outdoors every day. I see people going past.
Yeah.
I'm on the roadside. I've got enough.
Yeah.
And he has the exact mentality that would have made him famous as a philosopher 10 years before Diogenes.
Wow.
But yeah, you're probably right. They're
about Diogenes.
But it's really funny because this guy obviously goes up like trying to be pretentious, trying to tell this guy how he should want to live. You can see where he's going like, oh, I wish the state did more for you.
Yeah.
But then turns around and starts attacking him for not giving them enough place, and he's measured it out, and he kind of just gets rattled and gets wrecked.
Yeah.
And then he posts it himself.
Bizarre.
And all the comments are like, bro, why the hell did you post it? You've not come across
Friendly fire, what are you doing? Yeah.
Up until then, I've never really thought about that man being quite profound.
Oh, he's profound. All right, he is profound.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is interesting. And speaking of dead people, Phoebe's put in a
Phoebe is not
question.
dead.
No, Phoebe's not dead, but she's from the Patreon, and she said, if you can have a meal with one famous person, dead or alive, and any questions you ask them, they have to answer honestly, who would you pick?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
Subscribe to the Patreon, by the way, patreon.com/Patreon Arthur.
I mean, I may just take like a world leader in and ask them about aliens or something, because they've got to answer honestly. Yeah.
What world leader?
Let's go with Trump, just because he's got access now.
To modern stuff. What would you ask him?
Yeah, I just want to know about like Have you encountered aliens?
I was, you know what I was going to say? If we had been asked this last week, Chip would have been like, first thing you would ask, what's the latest on aliens, UFOs?
That's the first thing that springs to mind for me. What about you?
Dead or alive, one meal with one famous person. Oh, that's so difficult. I do think Jesus would be a really cool one.
Oh, yeah.
Like as a philosopher, because obviously
of course.
so much of the stuff that we know like was written a little bit later.
Yeah.
People will like speak about how much it might have been exaggerated or myth. It'd be really interesting to ask him, going like, in your opinion, did you ever claim to be God? Were you God?
You can get to the bottom of it.
Did you actually do this? And it'd be so interesting for him to go, I am God.
Yeah.
I did this thing, and be like, oh wow, that's very different to someone reporting it. Or, you know.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Well done.
Be a really cool one.
That's better than Trump.
Or who else?
I mean, you could bring in Nicki Minaj and say, did you ever fuck Wayne? Did you ever fuck Drake?
I'm trying to think who else would have been. I'm trying to avoid doing things that are too similar to similar answers.
Bring in Chris Ross and see why he slapped Chris Ross on the penis.
But it could be someone alive. I'm trying to think who alive now.
Oh, okay, ask the developer of Minecraft if Herobrine really is in the game.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ain't that right?
Ruben Amorim, I want to know his true thoughts on the current players and where Man United's going to go in the future.
Nice.
Who else? Who else now where you're like, oh, I'd love to know what you know. I bet they know a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of controversial ones that you could bring in and be like, did you do it? But I haven't really got time for that. I'd rather know about aliens.
Yeah. Because there's not really like an obvious scientist of our current time where you go, oh, there's a current Einstein, where you could just pick their brains. Like everyone, all the top science communicators like Brian Cox and stuff, they say all the interesting stuff on a podcast.
I mean, you could bring in Elon Musk and then just really pick his brain.
That would be fascinating on a societal way, just to be like, because it's interesting to see what changed his mind. Did you see there was like a tweet from a couple of years ago where he quote tweeted someone being like, it must have been anti-LGBTQ or whatever.
Right.
Or something along those lines, because he quote tweeted it. I don't remember the original quote, but he said like, oh, then you're going to hate Tesla because this year, 2018, we scored 100% on the LGBTQ inclusivity policy. We don't care, like, love who you love. We're inclusive and a bunch, like a rainbow array of hearts.
Oh, good.
And obviously now he's very anti-woke. It would be really interesting to see what changed his mind and to see, because he just does so much stuff that you're like, where has this come from? Like, it feels like he's almost fallen down a rabbit hole echo chamber of.
Yeah, there was a time when I quite liked him, and now it's like, you can't support a guy doing shit like that.
It's annoying because like he is one of those people with SpaceX and with Tesla at the forefront of things that could be great for society, making us interplanetary, putting us on Mars, giving us electric vehicles and hopefully making them more green. Yeah, because obviously they've got problems, and if he can help identify those, and I mean, we spoke about it a couple of podcasts ago where maybe he's a bit more of an Edison. Like obviously he's building the teams, but he's evident he is a spearhead of it. He's doing it, regardless of how important he is behind it. It would be really interesting to see if you go like, oh, is this really what you want to be doing with your power and stuff? Like, maybe sending people down this political direction, and is it really what you think is best for humanity? And could I speak to you about the science of certain things, and are you open to having your mind changed? And where there's so many interesting things where you go like, but he's just such an odd person. I can't get my head around him. Like, you must have seen that clip. Me and George were absolutely
Little bottle of water
when he did the I am become meme. Oh yeah. Seriously. No, literally.
I am become meme.
Literally.
No one laughed. It's really awkward. No, literally though.
Yeah.
So but that's who we'd bring in, people like that. We'd ask them questions. Speaking of questions, we've got listener questions.
Oh, by the way, before you do, can you guys answer that? Because I always
in the comments.
I think I've been asked that before, and I said Jesus on a previous podcast.
Yeah,
and we said some basic ones. I bet there are some really cool ones we haven't spoken about. So let us know what you guys think. And thanks for the Patreon question. Join the Patreon so you can get priority.
Thank you for that.
Access to questions and stuff.
Now we're going to do a listener question purge.
Oh yeah,
quick fire style. We often see on the submissions that you guys put in some stupid ass questions, quite frankly. So we're going to be going
If you were
through.
a roast toy, what color would it be in? It's
Exactly.
like-
Shit like that. So we're going to be quick firing some of these, but this does not mean you should send us more. Okay. Maybe we'll create a separate submissions for something like this, but
Dumb.
use the submissions for serious stuff at the moment.
Because it's so hard. There are literally, it's piling
It's so
up.
hard to go through it all.
We're closing in like 10,000, and sometimes they're like, I have a crush on my cousin's friend. What do I do? And it's
Yeah, and we're
"Bruh,
like, we can't help you with that.
can't help
I'm sorry.
if you want stuff like that, make it super specific. Give us crazy details, twists.
It needs to be crazy.
The more info the possible, or get really deep. Ask us really profound questions.
That's right.
All this
So let's quick fire through
But let's
these.
purge some rubbish ones.
Okay, right, let's go. Yaz says, I need to know exactly what will affect Tesco's closing times. There's absolutely nothing on this god green earth that would ever affect Tesco's closing times. What? Sorry, I can't. I did just get a Tesco fleece. Maybe she's thinking I can help. I can help with that. Honestly, I don't know.
No idea.
A meteor, maybe.
Oh, maybe if it was going to hit Tesco,
Yeah, maybe that.
they'd shut before and after.
Even even then, they'll keep it open.
Come
I
on,
think.
guys, we're closing up. It's about to hit. It's landing in 30 seconds. Get out of here.
Okay, Anna wants to know: would you rather be sticky or itchy for the rest of your life?
Sticky.
I'm always sticky anyway.
Slightly-
But I'd rather be
Ugh.
sticky. What's the truth?
I think we've answered that one before, but I don't know if we actually both went sticky.
No, I definitely go sticky on that one.
Itchy is
Sticky.
Sticky's too actively painful.
Yeah, itchy's horrible. Okay, Zoe wants to know if you had to pick a new name for yourself, what would it be? I'd go for Ray Ferrari. That's my alter ego anyway.
What?
How sick is that? Think about if I do any performance, if I ever become a musician, I'm going under Ray Ferrari.
Oh, that's kind of weird. I wish I had like a Greek or like Roman name, like I'm Artorius Fredenes.
You've thought about that. That's sick. Artorius Fredenes is so sick. Oh, actually.
Well, Artorius I know is an Arthur. I'm sure that's a Roman clan.
Yeah.
Artorius, but I'd
I've
love
no
to
idea.
have a slightly more. Yeah.
I just realised I picked a new name for myself in Italian
Oh, yeah,
Bach.
Italian Bach, you've done it
So I've
already.
already got an alter ego. And he's kind of different to Isaac. Elise wants to know, would you rather have toes for fingers or fingers for toes? Well, you have fingers for toes, so
What the flip? I'd rather fingers for toes, definitely.
yeah, same. And
Oh
mine
my
are-
god, I could play co-op.
I can
games.
peel a banana with my toes, and I said that on one. Still need to do that on an episode. I will.
That's got to be a Patreon exclusive
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Ava wants to know, would you rather have 100 Rose toys or film the podcast for the rest of your life? I already have 100 Rose toys. So,
And I already want to film the podcast for the rest of my life.
So there's your answer.
There you go.
Now we got, which former or current US president would you rather jerk off? Would you go for one who will
What?
be quick, be enjoyable, an orange one perhaps? Personally, I'd go for the 44th president. I'm doing Obama.
That is the 44th. I think you agree with that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm jerking off. I'm jerking off Obama. Who you
Obama's
jerking?
44, right? Yeah. Barack Obama's 44.
Yeah, I'll jerk Obama. Who you jerking?
That's. Oh god, the early ones wouldn't have washed.
No. Lincoln?
Abe Lincoln.
You got to get the balls with Lincoln. You
He'd be
can't-
mad. He'd be mad, hairy, wrinkly, and I bet that thing is long and thin.
George then? George, maybe?
George Washington.
Yeah. You could pretend it's George Clark.
No. What? Oh, you like that, George?
Okay.
Because I do.
I'm going to have to,
they wouldn't
press
wash.
you here.
Oh
I'm going to have to
god.
push you for an answer. Please, please, please.
Oh, Bush.
Okay.
I'm a man.
You
I
know
love
he's got,
Bush.
You know he's got a bush. Okay. Would you rather be a blow-up mattress or a garden chair? This is a brilliant question. Thank you. I'm going to go blow-up mattress.
Garden chair, because less likely someone's gonna get a back blown out on me.
Oh, I'd rather have someone back blown out on me. Or the worst you can have as a garden chair is grandpa's breaks the fourth leg and you die.
I think we bring more degeneracy to the modern youth than Diogenes did. I really do.
Maybe we do, but it's their fault. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's your fault. Thanks for the shit questions.
So there you go.
Go submit some good ones, please.
Yeah, we've quick fired through those. Hope that helps. And yeah, that rounds up the episode pretty much.
A great episode. That was a really interesting, fun one.
That was a fun end.
I do love the balance we've got at the moment of submissions, science, philosophy, and stuff.
Rose toys and twerking.
and modern things in our own personal lives.
Yeah, and blowing
So
it back
thanks,
out.
guys.
Yeah.
Keep up the watching.
Yep.
The episodes this season are doing really well, which is really nice to see. Thank you. For the
Yeah,
support.
thanks, guys. Make
Thanks
sure
for
you
subscribing and liking.
share it to your whole school.
Yeah.
Play it in assembly time.
And by the way, we're not going to be able to sit on the same sofa. My neck is finally enjoying these episodes.
That's right.
I did ask for us to go on the sofa when we had Chip round, but they said no.
I also pushed to be on the sofa with Chip again, and so we were both looking at Arthur.
Yeah, that'd be too weird.
Because I don't want to give you guys even a taste of knee touching, because then they're like, that's what I want. And they kind of were like that in the comments. Anyway, Anyway,
Yeah.
speaking of comments, make sure you drop one. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Rate us 5 stars on all the audio platforms.
Join the Patreon there. The perks have just had a big update, so go check it out.
It's listed on there. And thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.